Hey guys, another Australian immigration topic. In this video, we're going to cover about the subclass 191 visa. It is a permanent residence visa under the skilled regional program. And what I really like about this 191 visa is you're not bound to an age limit. So regardless if you are 50 or 60 years old, as long as you hold a prerequisite visa, you can transition to the 191. It doesn't have a threshold also, like unlike with the 482 that I think you need to have like an earning to get 186 or something, but the employer as well can straightly sponsor you for 186. So we're not going to cover that 482 and 186. So we'll be focusing on the 191 visa. And by the way, I'm not an immigration agent nor a lawyer. So if you are, I highly suggest that you seek for a legal advice from those people. This video, just take it as a grain of salt. I'm just basing this as my own understanding and referencing the official website homeaffairs.gov.au. So again, with this 191 visa stream, it is a permanent PR visa and it's only $490 for the processing fee. And as you notice here, there's no bound for like hold an eligible visa. That's what I'm saying. You need to hold a prerequisite visa to be eligible. It doesn't have a threshold, as I said. There's no minimum income required as long as you just submit your ATO tax for every year, every July, have a complied conditions of the eligibility. So you can also get your family members and be eligible for Australian citizen. So let's jump into about this visa. It's definitely before you can get this, you need to have a subsequent visa. I already mentioned that, and these are the costs. So 490 for the main applicant. For additional applicant, like your husband, then additional 245, 125 maybe for your children, and the list goes on. Let's jump in with the processing time. With the processing time, if you type in the 191 there and then regional, and then let's say the application date, you applied this today, submit. Usually the standard process will take a year for 50%, a year, a year, usually a year. But if you're already living here in Australia, you're onshore, you don't need to go back to your country. You will have a bridging visa, so you can still work while you're processing your 191 or your permanent PR. So let's jump in with the eligibility. When you have this visa, I think you already mentioned that before. Okay, so with the 491 visa, just check this out, guys. Let's just jump into the eligibility. So in order for you to get a 491 visa, this is a must. So with a 191 visa, this is a state sponsored visa, so you don't need to have an employer for this. But the 491 visa has an age gap, so you need to be at least 40, like under 45 years old. So let's say you get approved for your 491 visa at the age of 44, and then after 5 years you'll be 49 that time, you're still eligible to get PR. So as long as you sealed this 491, let's say 491 visa, go into this. It's a bit expensive, 4,700. So eligibility here, let's go into the age. So it needs to be under 45 years old. So if you think you have a lesser, like below average points for your occupation, highly suggest you jump into the 491 before you reach 45 years old. So once you transition to 191, like age doesn't really an issue here. It's not bound to age limit as long as you have your 491. Satisfaction income, as I said, very it's not tight. You don't have an income threshold. And then with this one, basically you just need to be a good Samaritan. Don't do any anything that could jeopardize your application, like any illegal thing. This is more on just like signed Australian value statement. You don't have debt in Australian government, and then any visa cancellation. With a visa cancellation, I'm just not sure with this, because in some instances, let's say for example me, last 2022, I've got a refusal for my tourist visa, and then I also told the during my application for the student one, I really mentioned in my application that I've got refusal due to I wasn't able to get a biometric. So it's just very minor cost of why I've got a refusal for my tourist visa. I'm just not sure about this, but again, you can talk to your immigration lawyer or agent just to clarify that stuff. And yeah, better to check it out. Again, before you check out 191, seal a 491 or 494 visa. When you said 494, by the way, let's jump in here. Eligibility, yeah, so 494 is still, it's not a state sponsor, so the government, we're not gonna sponsor you, but the employer living like an employer based in regional can sponsor you for 494. But the good thing with this, because their company lives in the regional area, their qualification, like the threshold to become the qualification to become a registered sponsor, is not that strict compared to a company based in metro or based in category 1 like Sydney, Melbourne. So they do have, I think they do have DAMA. So let's say you are a support worker and the company is really in rural area, then there's a really get big chances to get 494, or you can go into 491. With the 491 support worker, I think this is a level 2 or level 3 ANSCO code, so it really a big advantage if your ANSCO code in 491 is level 1, but still it's still doable for you to get a 491 even though you are in a level 3 or level 2. But if you have an employer living or based in a regional area like in a category 3, consider asking them to apply for 494, because I believe this employer, this company based in a very regional area like category 3, has a program called DAMA, and they don't have much of like paperwork to do to sponsor an employee. So again, once you secure a 494 or 491, after 3 years, you can transition it to permanent PR, the 191 visa. Let's just check how much this costs. Like, yeah, 4,700. Also, this one is a 4,700, but once you transition to a PR, you'll only need to pay $490. Hope it helps, and see you on my next video.